Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are the Lions.
Reds baseball tonight from Miami, Florida. It's a bit overcast outside and very humid out there. That's why we are inside Marlins Park for the first of what will be a long 4-game series. The Reds and the Marlins right here on Fox Sports Ohio. And hi, and a pleasant good evening, everyone, and welcome to Reds Baseball. Jim Kelch along with Chris Welsh on this, the trading deadline day. The deadline, of course, passed some 3 hours ago. And, Chris, no moves by this Cincinnati club.
That doesn't mean they're not trying now, so don't go back home and be panicked about that because Walt Jocketty was not able to cut a deal to bring a bat in here or maybe a pitcher. I think overall what the problem with the whole thing was, Jim, is that every time Walt Jocketty probably talked to another team, they said, all right, let's start with your best prospects like Robert Stevenson, Nick Travioso. Let's get the Lorenzen kid in the talks as well. And I'm not so sure that the Reds are really willing to make that kind of a deal where you're going to send your best prospects away when you hope right now that you still have a chance of getting Brandon Phillips and Joey Votto back sometime to be meaningful this year.
Well, this Reds team goes into action tonight, then one game under 500 after dropping 2 of 3 at home against Arizona, and they send their ace to the mound, Johnny Cueto, who was ace-like his last time out.
Well, Johnny Cueto showed you in the last start that he's got a second gear that very few other pitchers around baseball have. But he really needed it, and he kicked it in the 6th and 7th inning last game. He struck out 4 in a row. He got his fastball up to 96 miles an hour. Other than that, Johnny Cueto can pinpoint the ball all over the strike zone. He is very, very tough. And you look at the numbers, not just the wins and losses for Cueto, but those numbers inside the numbers, like opponent batting average, first in the league, second in strikeouts, leading the league in innings pitched. That is what you want out of your ace, and Johnny Cueto is certainly an ace.
Johnny Cueto will face, Chris, one of the best hitters in the league tonight, Giancarlo Stanton.
Well, not only one of the best hitters, but one of the strongest hitters that you'll ever see. I mean, ever see. He's got 6 home runs this year that have gone farther than 450 feet. That is the most in Major League Baseball. So, to say it very quickly, when he hits them, they stay hit.
On the mound tonight for the Miami Marlins is a right-hander, Tom Koehler, whom the Reds have never faced as a starter. He'll be out there tonight.
Not overpowering. It goes in the low 90s. He's going to throw a lot of fastballs around, four-seam fastballs around the letters, but he's got a knuckle curveball that he drops right off the table. He does not have a big margin of error. So the Reds, if they see some pitches that are in the strike zone and hittable, they ought to be able to handle Koehler tonight.
All right, Cueto against Moeller on the mound in this game. Meanwhile, as we mentioned, the trading deadline has passed, and there are some deals that took place that affect the National League Central and the big picture as well. Jim Day will have that when we come back.
is brought to you by your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. By Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good? It's Skyline time. South Florida, Marlins Park. Reds and Marlins coming up on Fox Sports Live. Trade deadline day and National League Central Division teams. The Cardinals and the Brewers were active today, as well as the Cubs. Let's show you the trades that were made today. In fact, the Cardinals opened up some Ides today. The Red Sox were very, very active. John Lackey goes to the Cardinals, and they gave up Alan Craig, who the last 2 years before this year was just an RBI machine. The Brewers received Gerardo Parra, who we just saw for 2 minor leaguers. And the Cubs traded Bonifacio and Russell to Chicago for a Class A player. Now, the blockbusters today, everyone was waiting to see if David Price would be traded. Indeed, a 3-team trade. Price goes to Detroit. Tampa Bay receives Nick Franklin, Drew Smyly, and Willie Adams. And Seattle receives the very talented Austin Jackson. Oakland is just loading up. They got John Lester and former Red Johnny Gomes, and they gave up Yoenis Cespedes, which really opened some eyes. And the Nationals and Indians got together as Asdrubal Cabrera going to the Washington Nationals. So it was a big, big day as far as trades go. The Reds stayed pat. So it's the same Cincinnati Reds squad. And they've won 5 straight, and they hope counting against the Fish. It's the Marlins and Reds coming up next. First pitch with Jim Couch and Chris Welsh right around the corner on Fox Sports Live.
Florida, as the Reds and the Marlins get together for the first time this year. Tonight's game will mark the first of 7 games these two teams will play against one another over the course of the next 11 days. After the 4-game series against Cleveland, this Marlins team will come to Cincinnati, and the two will get together for a 3-game series at Great American Ballpark. Brian Price, in this, the 108th game of this 2014 season, puts this lineup out there tonight. Presented by Meyer, Billy Hamilton, Christopher Negron batting second at second base, then Todd Frazier. Ryan Ludwig in the cleanup spot. You can see he's done very well down here. Then Brian Pena catching as usual against Johnny Cueto. Chris Heisey in right field. Jack Hanahan, Zach Cozart, Johnny Cueto round out the lineup for Cincinnati. On the mound for the Marlins is the right-hander Tom Kohler.
Now, Tom Kohler, the right-hander, is an even 7-7 this year. A respectable earned run average. I think that he has given the Marlins probably more than they thought he would. Overall, he's pitched 124 innings. Not a high strikeout pitcher, although he has 97 on the year. Sometimes control goes awry for Kohler.
He delivers the first pitch of this game to the switch hitting outfielder Billy Hamilton, and it misses outside for ball one. We are underway. First of what will be a 6-game road trip for the Reds, but it's not split evenly. 4 here, 2 in Cleveland. Marlins know they must get rid of the ball in a hurry as Hamilton hits it on the ground to Echeverria. He makes the play, and Billy is out 6-3. That's the way this game gets started. The Marlins defensively brought to you by your Ford dealers. Line up like this. Yelich is out in left field. Ozuna in center. Giancarlo Stanton is the right fielder. On the infield, McGee at third, Echeverria at shortstop, Valdespin, the former Met, at second, Garrett Jones, the former Pirate, at first, and the catcher is Jeff Mathis, doing the catching for the right-hander Tom Kohler. 28 years old, from the Bronx, played collegiately at Stony Brook University in Stony Brook, New York.
And he really beat the odds to get here. He was drafted in the 18th round, not his junior year when you're first eligible in a 4-year school, but his senior year with no leverage at all.
In the air, hit hard by Negron into left center field, but tracking it out there is Christian Yelich, and he has it.
So when you get drafted your senior year in college, the pros know that you've got no leverage. You're not going anywhere else. If you want to play professional baseball, you've got to sign that contract. So he was given a $1,000 signing bonus. Drafted in the 18th round. Of course, if you're a junior or if you're a high school player, and he was really hoping that he was going to be drafted out of high school, 2-time All-State player from New Rochelle, but was not. Consequently, took a little scholarship to go to State University of New York at Stony Brook, and here he is in the major leagues.
Not 100,000, not 10,000, 1,000.
Which was $500 more than I got.
A little bit different, though, in terms of the year.
This
was
true.
08.
Yeah, you know what? If you were to maybe adjust it to inflation, I probably got $25 more.
It's good to be back with you, Chris, and that subtle sense of humor of yours.
Yes, it is, Jim. Where you been, anyway?
Well, I've been hanging out over there on the radio side.
Well, welcome to the big leagues.
Yes, indeed. 2 out, no one on. First inning, Reds and the Miami Marlins. Reds came down here last year in May, swept this team in a 3-game series, so they'd love to do the same here. In fact, they have won 5 games in a row against the Marlins.
Kind of interesting, really. The Reds have not seen the Marlins since last May. And then they will see them here, 7 times in the next 10 days.
Sure. Frazier comes into the game at .279 with 20 home runs, 55 runs batted in. Reds trying to snap. We haven't really talked about it much. A 9-game road losing streak. They have not won on the road since they won at San Francisco on June the 29th. Here we are on July the 31st. They've lost 9 straight, all 3 in San Diego after that sweep of the series in San Francisco, and then swept in the 2 series on the road after the break at New York against the Yankees, and following that at Milwaukee. They went into the All-Star break 24-23 on the road, and now 24-29. Echeverria has another chance here, and he throws out Frazier, and the Reds go down in order in the first against Tom Kohler. Mike Redmond in his second year. Last year they lost 100 games down here, only the second time in franchise history, and so his overall record, as you can see, well under the 500 mark. Here's the lineup he puts forth tonight, brought to you by Meyer. Yelich, Valdespin, and Stanton. Stanton against the Reds, 3 career home runs. The former Brewer Casey McGee, the former Pirate Garrett Jones, and then Marcell Ozuna. Adeiny Echeverria, the shortstop, then Jeff Mathis and Tom Kohler against the 28-year-old right-hander Johnny Cueto.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty confident every time Johnny Cueto takes the mounds that the Reds have a great chance of winning that ball game, and I think the team feels that way too. So maybe it will be goodbye tonight to that long road losing streak, and Johnny Cueto will be just the engineer of this Reds ball club to get it done. 11-6 on the year, great earned run average, among the best in the league, more innings pitched than anybody else in the league. Opponent batting average at 184. That's about as good as it gets as well. So all the peripheral numbers support the fact that Cueto really ought to have about 15 wins right now.
No question about that, as he faces Christian Yelich here, and on a 1-2 pitch he rings him up with a great placed fastball over the outside corner for a strikeout.
Boy, did you notice how quickly Johnny Cueto was working between pitches right there? It's almost like he took a little lesson from Mike Leake and said, you know what, if they're going to stand in the batter's box, I'm going to get it and go. And just like that, Yelich is probably wondering what happened to his first AB.
So that'll bring the left-handed hitting Jordany Valdespin to the plate, the former Mets player from a couple of years ago, signed as a free agent in the offseason with the Miami Marlins. Just recently came up from their AAA club at New Orleans. And Derek Dietrich, by and large, was their second baseman early on. Dietrich's on the disabled list, and in the Miami Herald today, Michael Hill, the general manager down here, basically said that Valdespin and Solano, Donovan Solano, will split the second base job the remainder of this season.
Well, Valdespin, if you remember that name, it's because you remember him as a New York Met. Young man that has known Johnny Cueto for a long time. In fact, he is also, like Cueto, from San Pedro de Macorís in the Dominican Republic. Never played on the same team as Johnny Cueto, but of course you see him around town and talk to him from time to time. Cueto a couple of years, about a year older, I guess, than Valdespin.
Something we just saw there, Chris, from Johnny Cueto that we've seen a couple of times. He did it against the Nationals as well, kind of a quick pitch look, as opposed to the big turn. Get the ball and step forward and fire.
You know, Johnny has gotten really good at offsetting the hitter's timing. If you watch him pitch, his pitches go to different parts of the strike zone. Rarely do you see him start pounding one part of the zone, say inside under a hitter's hands or low and away pitch after pitch. He's moving that pitch all over the place, and he's become very adept at hitting those corners. That's why all of his numbers are so good.
He gets Valdespin like he gets Yelich on a called third strike. And Johnny, as we mentioned, coming off a very fine outing, a 9-strikeout performance against the Nationals, has 2 quick ones here. Take a look at the Reds defensively behind Cueto, brought to you by your Ford dealers. They line up like this. In the outfield, Ludwig, Hamilton, and Heisey getting the start in right. Jay Bruce will be back with this club tomorrow. On the infield, Frazier, Cozart, Negron, and Hanahan. Cueto caught tonight, as he has most of the year, by Brian Pena. Strike one to Giancarlo Stanton. He was the lone all-star on this club until an injury to Jordan Zimmerman kept him off the all-star team. He hammers this ball to left field. He had a home run yesterday in the 9th inning against the Nationals, and he gets one here against Cueto in the 1st inning this evening, his 25th of the year, and the Nationals jump in front in the 1st inning, 1-0. That ties Stanton with Anthony Rizzo of the Cubs for the National League lead in home runs with 25.
He hits him a long way when you give him a pitch that is very hittable, and you see it right there. I think Johnny Cueto wanted to come inside and stay it on the inner third, and if there's anybody in this league that can unjam a mediocre inside fastball, it is Giancarlo Stanton.
So Stanton is now tied for the league lead in home runs. He is the leader in RBIs with 73. His average coming into the game 293. He's really not had that great a month of July, but these last couple of days he had that 9th inning home run yesterday to make it a 4-2 game late in the contest against Washington, a game they ultimately lost 4-3 to snap their 6-game winning streak. And now he homers in his first at bat here tonight. Hit hard into right field. That's going to get down off the bat of Casey McGee and into the right field corner. Heisey having a little bit of trouble digging that thing out. Gets it back in. McGee has himself a double. So after the first 2 hitters for the Marlins were called out on strikes, a homer and now a double by McGee, his 22nd of the year.
McGee is having just an incredible year. He went from being really nobody wanted him to being untouchable by the Marlins when teams would ask about him in the trade. He's a very productive hitter, hitting over 300, but not really much power. But he shows you there that he'll use every inch of this field.
Yeah, that's an interesting number on McGee, because when he was a Brewer, he hit for more power. Now he only has the 2. He had a tremendous year going over to Japan, basically trying to prove that he could play in the big leagues again last year. And boy, he did that. He had a big number over there last year in home runs. Here's Garrett Jones, the former Pirate. Loops this one towards center field. That's going to drop for a hit. Here comes McGee. Here comes a throw. They've got a shot. The tag. Got him. McGee is gunned down by Billy Hamilton at the plate with the tag applied by Pena, and the inning is over. Billy gets another assist, and watch this again. It was a thing of beauty. The runner at the plate, Casey McGee.
Well, McGee's not the fastest of runners, but what is impressive about this is how far Billy Hamilton had to come to field that ball, and they got McGee by a long shot. You know, you talk to people around the league, and they're very impressed by the arm strength of Billy Hamilton, but they're always quickly to suggest, well, he's inconsistent with his accuracy. Well, I haven't quite seen that. We've seen him throw very accurately. He does right here. And that's a big out right there. It saves the Reds a run. And the Marlins have scored 1 in the first inning.
Ludwig hits one hard into left center field here, but tracking it is the center fielder, and that's Ozuna. And he makes the catch. That's even more impressive on that throw from center, the fact that there were 2 out, and McGee was running on contact.
You know, that run the Marlins score in the first inning is not something that they normally do. In fact, it's the Reds that normally score in the first inning when you compare their run differential. with other teams around the league and being able to score in the first inning. The Reds have had really the upper hand on other teams. The Marlins turn it on them tonight.
Marlins trying to get back to the 500 mark. They got there with the victory 2 days ago against Washington and then fell under by a game with the loss here to the Nationals yesterday. Pena flies out, so 5 faced and 5 retired by this right-hander Tom Kohler.
Is that 2 pitchers, 2 outs?
I think you're right. And that'll be Heisey.
Well, if I'm Tom Kohler, I'm thinking, you know what? No team ever wants to make possible a 3-pitch inning. So you're figuring that Chris Heisey's got to be taken right here. You lay one right down in there, you get a first pitch strike.
And if you're Heisey and you're thinking along with him, maybe you're swinging at a fastball right down the heart.
Yeah, but you risk the 3-pitch inning, and some people really don't like that.
Moot point as he takes the strike. Play straight away in the outfield for Chris, who swings at the second pitch he sees and pops it up. This is going to be a 4-pitch inning for Kohler. It is caught by Garrett Jones down along the right field line. Inning and a half complete. Every Reds game this season with MLB.com's head-to-head challenge app. You and your opponent each select 4 different players, and the person with the most points at the end of each game wins. Head-to-head challenge is free to play. Download today. Chris and I, in fact, are playing the head-to-head challenge today in this game. We'll see how it all ends up. We've also been playing Beat the Streak, which has been an up-and-down situation, certainly for me.
Me too.
I got up to 7 and then tried to double down. It all fell apart for me.
Well, start another one.
Yeah, I did. So we'll see how it ends up tonight. Marcell Ozuna, the center fielder for this Marlins club, leads things off here in the bottom of the second. They own to the Marlins a 1-0 lead. Ozuna, one of the talented youngsters on this club, 23 years old, out of the Dominican. After falling behind 3-0, Cueto gets a strike in there. Ozuna was up with his club half the season last year. Now he takes ball 4. He is on to start the bottom of the second.
He's not really an easy guy to walk. Ozuna is, and one of the things, they've got 5 kids in this ball club that are 26 years or younger on this starting staff, on the starting 8 that they're running out there today. And Ozuna is one that they really feel down the line is going to be a remarkable player. Right now, he's more of a free swinger, and he worked a walk out of Cueto to start the inning.
Yeah, you talk about the Pirates outfield with Polanco and McCutchen and Marte. Marlins people probably say, hey, I'd put our 3 up against them.
That's very true, but what the Pirates also have is a lot of reinforcements coming up in their minor leagues, especially at the higher levels, which is one reason why I was stunned why the Pirates did not make a deal here on the last day of the trading before the trading deadline. A lot of people had the Pirates as being one of the more active teams, and as it turned out, they did not make the moves. Really, it was the Brewers and the
Cardinals.
The Cardinals receiving, and of course the Cubs sending off.
Remember 2 years ago the Pirates made some moves that first year they were going to challenge, it looked like. Cozart will get this ball. Nice flip to the second baseman, and a bare hand grab there by Negron to get the force out on Ozuna. Echeverria will run at first base. Pirates make the move 2 years ago. It nearly doesn't work out. Last year they make the move, go out and get Bird in the outfield, Morneau at first base. It worked out better for them.
And they were trying to get A.J. Burnett this year. Again, that did not work out. Of course, he was a big part of their pitching staff last season. Heck of a play right there by Cozart to backhand that ball. Or was that Christopher Negron? I mean,
Negron got the bare hand throw from Cozart.
Yeah.
Getting the start out there at second base tonight is Negron. His 4th start since being called up just before the All-Star break. Had a pinch hit, base hit yesterday. This is the backup catcher, Jeff Mathis. Their main catcher down here has been Jared Saltalamacchia. Mathis under 200 coming into this game with a couple of home runs. Final day of the month of July. The Reds will finish this month under 500. They are 10-15. That ball bounces right out of the glove of Pena, and that's going to allow the runner to move down to second base.
Just missed it. In fact, he was fortunate that ball actually hit his toe, although the runner moved up anyway. Looked like a breaking ball that just he reached down and didn't get his glove on it.
Now a base hit by Mathis could add to the Marlins' advantage. In the air to right. Izzy going back, and let's see if that runner's going to tag. He is. Echeverria moving up 90 feet. He's at third with 2 out. Just a reminder, as you enjoy the game tonight, look forward to passing along our Miller Time moment of the night, brought to you by Miller Lite, coming up a little bit later in the broadcast. Pena charged with a pass ball on that play that allowed Echeverria to move to second, and now the pitcher, Kohler, gets the chance with a teammate at third and 2 out. Just to complete that thought on the month, the Reds 10-15 this month. It'll mark the 3rd time in 4 months this year that they have finished under 500, having gone 12-15 in March/April, 13-14 in May. They turned it around in June, 18-10, but here they are 10-15 this month. The Marlins, on the other hand, they're going to finish above 500 this month. They are 14-11 going into action tonight. Home run ball by Giancarlo Stanton, tying him with Anthony Rizzo of the Cubs for the National League lead in home runs with 25. The only run of this game thus far. Christian Yelich, representing the top of the Marlins order, waits on deck. Strike 3 called. 3rd strikeout, all looking by Cueto in the game. Go ahead to the 3rd. 1-0 Miami.
Serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK Ohio. Ohio's win percentage versus an opponent in the National League since 2006. Only the Pods versus the Pirates, Phillies versus the Padres, Milwaukee and St. Louis against the Marlins. Only one's better than the .642 winning percentage right there. Reds 34-19 overall against Miami, but trailing 1-0 early. Good sign today here in Miami. On the road trip with Cincinnati is Brandon Phillips, although he is still weeks away from returning from surgery to repair a lick in his thumb. This was him today working out with the team, and kudos to him, one, coming on the team, and he is way ahead of schedule right now. In fact, he was taking ground balls with that makeshift glove that he wears just to practice, and he looked like the Brandon Phillips of old. And the only thing he can do right now is bat. That will be the last thing. That torque on that hand, a little too much, but we're talking still 2 or 3 weeks probably for Brandon, but still ahead of schedule, gentlemen.
Well, you're right, Jim. It's great to see Brandon on the trip, out there interacting with the team, doing whatever he can. You know, it's killing him not to be out there, and you know, the teammates can't wait to get him back out there. Certainly the fans can't wait to get BP back in the lineup. Reds have used any number of different players out there. Schumacher, Santiago. Today, Christopher Negron is out there filling in for him. Here's a guy that spent a lot of time on the disabled list this year. Just became active in the last week. Made one start at first base at home against the Washington Nationals. That was last Sunday. Gets his second start of the year here tonight against Miami. Jack Hanahan looking for his first hit of the year. He's 0 for 5. And he takes strike 3. Jack pinch hit yesterday. Was unable to get on, and he's retired here. So that's 7 faced, 7 retired by Kohler.
That's a knuckle curve that we were talking about from Kohler. His fastball is about 93, 94. Pretty firm pitch, but he likes his curveball a lot. And he also throws a lot of sliders.
He faces that Cozart.
Really not a pitcher that likes to sink the ball, get a lot of ground balls. I mean, he's pretty much the old-fashioned basic fastball, curveball pitcher.
Echeverria been busy at shortstop as he throws out his opposite number. So 2 up, 2 down, and 8 straight now by Kohler.
Well, I got to figure the scouting report on the Reds right now says go right after him. They're not swinging the bat well. They don't seem to have much in the offensive flow, and Kohler is doing exactly that.
Kohler's last start was against the Houston Astros on the 26th. He allowed 3 runs in 5 innings. Did pick up a win in that game. And he's had 3 pretty good starts his last 3 times out. Last year 5-10 with this team with a 4.41 ERA. This year comes in at 3.91, so he's been a little bit better. Of course, the big loss on this Marlins club very early on was the young Cuban Jose Fernandez, who had Tommy John surgery. He'll be back next year at some point, probably. I wouldn't think, would you, right at the beginning of the season, but maybe shortly after.
Well, I'm not sure how quickly he's going to recover, but just can imagine. First hit of the night goes to Cueto.
How about that? Diving stop on that ball by the second baseman Valdespin, but Cueto gets the hit, becoming the first Reds base runner, and in the process, that's a new career high for Cueto in hits in a season. That's his 7th of the year.
That's one department he has really improved in. You know, to complete that thought on Fernandez, I mean, just think what kind of noise that the Marlins could be making in the National League East had Fernandez, Jose Fernandez, a very talented young right-handed pitcher, been healthy all year long. I mean, he was dialing up 10, 11 strikeouts just about every time he took the mound. easily the ace of the staff. They were already talking about him in Cy Young conversations way back early in the year.
Well, through the first 2 months of the season, they were a game over 500, this Marlins team. 27-26. June, they finished 5 games under. They've been able to get back to 500 here in July. They think they're still in contention in the NL East. To us using hashtag Ohio Fan Photo for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast. It's our AT&T Fan Photo of the game. So tweet your photo using Ohio Fan Photo, and maybe you'll see it in an upcoming broadcast. Time now for our IGS Bringing the Energy feature. It's all around Johnny Cueto. Consecutive starts since 1914, 5+ innings or more, 7 hits or fewer. There's Johnny Cueto at 24, the leader Johan Santana with 31. Johnny moving up that list. He can tie Jim Deshaies. JD now does television work for the Cubs. And Jared Weaver, if he can get it done here tonight. That ball hit hard by Christian Yelich, but right at the shortstop Cozart, so leadoff man retired.
Yeah, he was up there hacking first pitch. Did not want to become a victim of a strikeout looking again, Yelich.
Here's Jordany Valdespin. Home plate umpire tonight is the crew chief. That's Mike Winters behind the plate. There's Mike. His partners, Andy Fletcher at first, Tom Woodring at second, Mark Wegner, the umpire, over at third. Valdespin in his limited time with this club, 11 games. Going to be thrown out here by Cueto as he lobs that ball over to first and Jack Hanahan. So 2 up, 2 down here in the bottom of the third. Talking about all the trades that have been made today, with the trading deadline coming and going now some almost 4 hours ago. This Marlins club did get in on the action, and most notably they received a starter, Jarred Cozart, that won 9 games with that Houston club this year, that the Reds may see in this series. His scheduled day to pitch, I guess, is tomorrow. Someone from the Marlins is saying I would find it hard to believe that he would come in here and on the first day he gets in town pitch. There's the information. The Marlins get Cozart and an infielder they like, Hernandez. Gave up some minor league talent,
including the 6th player taken in the draft, not this year but last year, I think, in order to get Cozart.
That's another 1-3 put out. Down goes Stanton, and down in order go the Marlins. .com with the trade deadline pass. Kevin Goheen takes a big picture look at what's ahead for the Reds. And for one Bengals defender, the battle off the field for him and his family is more important than the one on the field. And find out what former Bengals linebacker Takeo Spikes is up to these days. Get complete coverage of all of today's action involving Ohio sports on foxsportsohio.com. Brought to you by 1-800-SAFE-AUTO. Drive safe and spend less. Christopher Negron leads things off here in the top of the fourth. 27 pitches through 3 innings for the right-hander Tom Kohler with 1 strikeout. Negron flied to left to Yelich back in the first inning. A couple of home runs for him. One that pinch hit 3-run homer. A pinch hit home run in Milwaukee and a 3-run homer at Great American Ballpark in a start.
Well, the one thing you have to be pretty impressed with Tom Kohler, the Marlins pitcher, is his control of that curveball. He's been able to throw that for strikes really whenever he's fired it up there.
There's the breaking ball, and it's tapped right back to the mound, and Kohler will throw out Negron for out number 1.
Well, you see just only 20 starts here at Marlins Park, but Tom Kohler, you see the first 10 were 1-6, the last 10 are 5-3, earned run average equally improved. In fact, this year his earned run average is 2.7 at home. On the road, it's almost around 5. So he likes pitching right here in the friendly confines of Marlins Park, roof open or closed.
He talked about the struggle it's been for him, drafted in 2008 for $1,000. This is really the first full year that he's had in the big leagues. Every other opportunity he's had in 12 and in 13, he's been up, sent back down, but this year he's been up here all year.
Well, if he's on a long road trip, he'll get $1,000 worth of meal money.
You tend to break things down a different way every now and then, don't you?
Well, you get some meal money on the road. Out of $1,000 road trip meal money, how much of that do you think you bring home?
There's a high fly ball into right center field. It's going to be handled out there by Ozuna.
I thought so.
And there are 2 men out. Frazier is 0 for 2. Now, why would you ask a question of me like that?
I was just curious.
Incriminating type question that could be.
Well, you know, some people are wondering about the lifestyles of the rich and famous.
Then why are you looking at me?
You're the only one I can see in this booth.
Look to your right. There's a couple of Hall of Famers. One right next to you and one all the way down. First pitch swinging again, Ludwig. Echeverria will throw him out, and the Reds, for the third time in 4 innings, go down in order against Tom Kohler. Was brought to you by the JTM Food Group. Let's create great dishes together. By Toyota. For over 30 Toyota offers, visit viatoyota.com. And enjoy Boneless Thursdays at B-Dubs with specially priced boneless wings all day. What a steal. Buffalo Wild Wings, wings, beer, sports. Like you're right on the boat heading into downtown Miami. What a sight that is, to be sure. Now, people are calling this Miami-Cleveland road trip for the Reds, Chris, the LeBron Tour. 4 years down here in Miami for LeBron, and then back to Cleveland. That's where the Reds are headed. So we're on the LeBron Tour. People down here, I guess, I don't know. What do you think their fan reaction down here with him leaving? I haven't heard or read anything overly negative, although it's been a couple of weeks since that announcement came out.
Wasn't anywhere near the kind of reaction I think that Cleveland had when he originally left there.
True point.
Hey.
So here we are on the first day of the LeBron Tour. Reds in Miami for 4 days, then Cleveland for 2. Indians will return the favor and come back to Cincinnati on Wednesday and Thursday. The Reds have this Miami team in town for 3, then after an off day, a return visit from the Boston Red Sox. That'll be a totally different looking Red Sox team than the one you guys saw when you were out there earlier.
Sure will. They recognized that they had no chance of getting back into it and decided to deal for whatever they could get.
And you're right near the railing, cannot get that. No longer they have the lefty John Lester. No longer they have the righty John Lackey.
And no longer they have the former Red Johnny Gomes.
Yeah, Johnny went back to Oakland where he was a couple of years ago. Interesting that Boston does pick up with this year and then next year left on his contract, Yoenis Cespedes. If the umpires getting together here, the home plate umpire Mike Winters, the first base umpire Andy Fletcher. Not sure what that was all about. Somebody may have gotten hit in the dugout. Lost a contact. Somebody lost a contact, I think I just heard Mike Winters say.
Well, we're missing a right fielder.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be Chris Heisey.
Yeah, I believe I heard Mike Winters say he lost a contact, so he went in and apparently got a new one.
That was pretty quick.
Putting that thing in the eye under pressure.
Yeah.
Fast. And while we have a moment, we'll pass along a special happy birthday wish tonight here on this final day of July, July the 31st, to Lou McIntosh, celebrating birthday number 92 today. Enjoying Reds baseball. Happy birthday, Lou. He is strikeout victim number 4 for Cueto in the first out here in the 4th inning. Johnny's now retired 7 in a row since the walk to Ozuna in the 2nd. And while we're at it, how about a special congratulatory happy anniversary wish today to Marvin and Eloise Whitehouse. Whitehouses from Shelbyville, Kentucky, celebrating their 60th wedding anniversary today. That's 6-0.
Wow. Congratulations.
The Whitehouses are celebrating, no doubt, in grand style tonight. 60 years of wedded bliss.
Now, Shelbyville, now that is the hometown of the Reds' assistant hitting coach, Lee Tinsley.
Is it?
Maybe he knows the White House.
Maybe he does. Yeah, that's a good point. Why don't you write that down on your notes and you can ask Lee about the White Houses later.
As long as you don't remember to ask me tomorrow.
Yeah, you're going to have a big, big night tonight. So we don't want to test your memory on anything tomorrow.
That's tomorrow night.
Pardon me. Yeah, tomorrow night's your big night. In the air, into left field off the bat of Garrett Jones. Ludwig will handle this for out number 2. We're talking about the Boston club and the big deals that they made. Here's some of the big trades that went down today with some of the bigger names. David Price, he did indeed get traded. He goes to Detroit. Highly talented outfielder Austin Jackson pulled off the field in the Tigers game today, taken out of the game and saying, hey, you're packing up, you're going to Seattle. We mentioned the Yoenis Cespedes deal. He's going now to the Boston Red Sox. One of the many moves that the Red Sox made today. Nothing for our Cincinnati Reds. As Jim Day mentioned earlier, we're hoping to get some comment from Reds GM Walt Jocketty at some point during the game. If not today, tomorrow. 2 quick strikes here, and now a liner into right field off the bat of Ozuna. Going to get by Heisey and go to the wall. Ozuna's going to end up at second with a double, so he's been on twice, and he hit an 0-2 pitch there for a 2-base hit.
But Johnny Cueto among the best in the league and not giving up hits on the 0-2 count. But this one just floats right back over the plate. You see the quick reaction of Brian Pena behind the plate, just kind of drops his head, because rarely does Cueto miss his spot by that much. A quick swing by Ozuna, and he picks up double number 16.
4 hits in this game for the Marlins, 2 doubles and a home run. Streak of 8 in a row by Cueto ended on that 2-base hit. Now he'll turn his attention to Adeiny Hechavarria, trying to put a 0 on the board here in the bottom of the 4th. Hechavarria been a much better hitter at home this year than he has been on the road. He's a plus 300 hitter here at Marlins Park. Shoots this one to the alley in right center. Diving for that ball is Heisey.
Wow.
And he makes the catch. That's a highlight grab right there for Chris Heisey. A long run, laid out, caught the ball, skid on his stomach, and hung on to the baseball to retire the Marlins. MLB.com @bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. Get live look-ins, instant replays, scores, stats, audio, free MLB.tv game of the day, and much more. Download on the App Store or visit Reds.com today. Heisey is due up second here in the top of the 5th inning. Here he is after changing out that contact, Chris, and he needed that thing as it turned out.
Well, he left the field. All of a sudden, there's nobody in right field. The umpire, we read his lips saying he lost his contact, and it's a good thing he put the right one in because he makes a spectacular catch right there. That certainly would have scored a runner had he not been able to come up with that inning-ending diving catch. And Johnny Cueto so far has only given up 1 run, and they're down 1-zip.
You don't make a catch like that without a great jump on that thing.
Or good eyesight.
Chris certainly had both of those there. Great eyesight, thanks to the new contact, and a great jump. Pena will lead it off, and then the aforementioned Heisey. Reds with 1 lone hit, single by Cueto, trailing 1-0 here in the 5th. Trying to snap that 9-game road losing streak, trying to get back to the 500 mark. In fact, the winner of this game will sport a 500 record of 54-54. These teams coming in with identical records, and if you look at the standings, both teams are 6 games out. Reds in 4th place, Marlins in 3rd place. That's going to be down for a hit for Pena. That ball skipped by the center fielder Ozuna, head to the wall. Pena's got himself a double, and really he is the best bat the Reds have had since the All-Star break. Pena. He hit .350 during the homestand and gets a base hit here. He's now hitting 7 in a row.
And he lays it right out there, does Pena. And the interesting thing about this, I think the center fielder really misjudged Ozuna. How hard that ball was hit. Kind of took a wacky route to get to it, was unable to cut it off. It goes all the way to the wall. So now with nobody out and a man runner on second base, you know what Chris Heisey's charge is to do, which is get the ball to the right side.
Popped up, caught by the first baseman Garrett Jones his first time. Chris in the throes of a 2 for 24 stretch at the dish.
Interesting defense there by the Marlins. The third baseman Casey McGee was not even thinking about coming in at all. He's hanging near the bag. He just pointed to the pitcher saying, "You've got everything from here over."
That ball hit him, and it's going to be a foul ball. The catcher Mathis is saying it hit him outside the batter's box, thus he should be ruled out. Here comes the manager of the Marlins out, Mike Redmond. Mathis immediately pointed. Mike Winters pointed to the batter's box. Let's take a look at it. Let's take another look. This is not going to be a great angle to see his footing. This one will be.
Here's the angle that gives you the best look right now. Of course, he's in the batter's box. You know, the ball did not hit the plate, and maybe it was not in fair territory, and that's maybe what the home plate umpire Mike Winters is saying. That it did hit him, and he was out of the batter's box, but the ball was a foul ball.
Good point. Now Kohler comes back with what has been his best pitch of the night. That curveball gets it in for a strike. And to the tying run at second base, no one out here in the 5th. Look around Marlins Park, and there's I guess a decent crowd down here tonight. I know 3 years ago when they opened this ballpark, 2 years ago I guess, 2012, they opened this ballpark. They drew just under 28,000 a game. Last year that number dipped about 10 or 11,000. They're back up over 20,000 on average this year. That's the second time tonight that Heisey has given work to Garrett Jones. This one's in foul territory, and it's caught.
Well, this one really hurts more than the 2-out pop-up that he made because he's unable to move that runner to third.
Sure you're ready for Reds baseball action 30 minutes before the start of every game with Reds Live, presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing, right here on your exclusive home of Reds baseball, Fox Sports Ohio. It all begins back at the studio in downtown Cincinnati with Jim Pecoro, Brian Giesenslaw. Comes out to the ballpark with Jim Day. Generally up here in the booth with Chris. Get you all set up for Reds baseball. We'll do the same exact thing tomorrow night. Reds Live at 6:30, game at 7:10. In fact, we'll do that same thing on Saturday night as well. And the day game wraps things up here on Sunday. Echeverria cheating behind Pena out at second. Nice spot for the first hit of the year for Jack Hanahan if he can get it here.
You know, this is a beautiful ballpark. I mean, it is one of the nicest ballparks that you will ever see. And I got to figure that the Marlins are only a real championship caliber season. Don't need to win the World Series, that they probably have to go deep into the playoffs to get people in here and to realize how nice it is to come out here and watch a game.
Slice to left field, but Yelich will get to the ball. So Pena, who led off the inning with a double, has stayed put out there at second base on the foul off by Heisey. The line out to left by Hanahan.
Well, if you get the runner over to third base, that fly ball turns into an RBI for Jack Hanahan.
2 out for Kozar. Yeah, talking about this this stadium, Chris, it seats right around 36, 37,000 or so. They built them smaller lately to affect ticket demand. You know, they used to build them 50, 55,000 or so. They
and
cut
they're
down those
averaging
considerably.
they're averaging about 21 here this year. And they're 15th in the National League, which is last in attendance. Even though this is a beautiful place to watch a game.
It really is.
And it's air conditioning, believe me. Miami, end of July, air conditioning is a good thing.
You gotta really love the fact that these ballparks that have the domes over them, the retractable roofs, are able to keep their natural grass looking so good. This looks remarkable down here, considering that the roof is closed most of the time, either because of the intense heat like you just talked about, or the always occurring afternoon showers. No showers today, but boy, the humidity is engulfs you when you walk outside.
You see, you're spoiled by the beautiful weather that you've had in Cincinnati here this July.
Been crazy, hasn't it?
It has been.
Walk outside now. Women, they carrying a sweater with them. Not that men wouldn't, but women going to a restaurant sometime, they get a little chilly. In the air, shallow right, and that'll be handled by Stanton. And the inning is over. One of the beautiful things about this ballpark, there is an actual aquarium right here at Marlins Park.
Tomorrow's dinner.
insane Miami Marlins coming up on Friday, August the 8th during Hall of Fame induction weekend. After the game, stick around for a special on-field ceremony honoring more than 20 Reds legends and a post-game fireworks show presented by Cooper Tires. For tickets to this exciting weekend at the ballpark, call 513-381-REDS. You can visit select Kroger locations, or you can go to reds.com/tickets. That is next weekend, the big Reds Hall of Fame induction weekend. Always one of the highlights every couple of years. Big class going in this year as Frazier gets this ground ball. First pitch swinging again by Jeff Mathis for out number 1.
I'll tell you what, neither of these teams are really being all that patient at the plate. Both pitchers are throwing a lot of strikes. Neither pitcher has had a count tonight that has gone more than 6 pitches.
Here's Tom Kohler, called out on strikes his first time. Only run of this game, a 2-out solo homer by Giancarlo Stanton in the bottom of the first. Strike on the appeal. Nothing in 2.
You think they ring up pitchers more than everyday players on that?
I think they ring up everybody. Excuse me, swing there and a foul ball.
Well, Kohler has been up 30. He's got 33 official at bats and he has struck out 19 times. Came into tonight's ball game at 0.65 hitter, and he's seen that batting average drop now down to 0.61.
I bet the percentage, though, of pitchers arguing on a check swing is way down as compared to an everyday player. Already been a career year for Tom Kohler, looking for his 8th win here tonight. Mentioned earlier, he's been in the big leagues all year. Never made a start against the Reds prior to tonight's game. He had made a couple of relief appearances both last year. Izzy right there to grab this fly ball for out number 2. Remember to follow Reds reporter Kevin Goheen from FoxSportsOhio.com on Twitter at FSOhio_K Goheen. Reach your Reds questions to him right now. Check out our Reds coverage on FoxSportsOhio.com. Kevin Goheen will be in Cleveland, I understand, covering the Redlegs and the Tribe Series that begins on Monday. Here's Christian Yelich. He has taken a called third strike and lined out.
Yelich is a very impressive young hitter. We haven't seen very much of him because he struck out looking in the first inning to lead the bottom of the first inning off and hit the first pitch he saw last time, line drive right to Zach Cozart at short. Watched him take batting practice today. Very impressive. Talked to a long time to Tony Perez, of course, former Red Hall of Famer and all, who's one of the coaches here. He dresses out at home, Perez does, and he is very high on Christian Yelich, only 22 years old. Former #1 draft pick. The Marlins picked him up in 2010, 23rd pick overall. Made his debut just 3 years later. That was after he was picked out of high school.
Got him on strike. Second time tonight that he has gone down. Once looking, once swinging. 5 of them now for Cueto. This game heads into the 6th. The hashtag Ohio fan photo. Take a look at tonight's fan photo of the game. What do we have here? There's Bill. Bill reclining in his recliner, relaxing in his recliner, his favorite chair, no doubt, with his favorite hat on, ready to watch his favorite team.
How about his Twitter handle? Unbalanced CPA. That sounds like my tax guy.
Is Bill your man?
He might be after tonight.
He looked like he was ready to kick back and enjoy a little Reds baseball. Cueto is the lone base runner for the Reds tonight. Prior to that double by Pena through the first 4 innings, he hits a deep fly ball to left, but Yelich handles it. So Cueto's had 2 pretty good at bats in this game. He flies out to start inning number 6. Kohler, how about his pitch efficiency, Chris? 51 now, 5 in the 3rd innings.
Well, you don't get that way unless you have a compliant team to help you along, and the Reds are being very helpful in that category. But Kohler, to his credit, is throwing a lot of strikes. I mean, he had 5 pitches in the 2nd inning, 8 pitches in the 4th. Not one inning has he gone more than 15 pitches. I mean, this is the kind of outing that you dream about.
Well, through the first 5 innings, that aggressive approach has not helped the Reds. You wonder if they'll change up a little bit and maybe make this guy work a little bit.
Well, as long as you're throwing strikes, making them work is a misnomer, because you find yourself down, no balls and 1 strike, no balls and 2 strikes, and all of a sudden you're hitting defensively.
So if he's going to get ahead, he's going to force you to go up there swinging.
He's gotten Billy Hamilton on fastballs up each of the previous times. And Billy is obviously going to make him work a little bit more. He takes strike 2 right down Broadway.
Billy, one of the many Reds struggling at the plate since the All-Star break. He was 3 for 22 during the homestand, and he strikes out here. Strikeout number 2 for Kohler. 2nd out of the inning.
A rare slider for Kohler. He usually keeps that fastball curveball going. This one he just tries to paint the outside corner, back door. He gets Hamilton to swing, but Billy comes up empty.
So 2 quick outs for Christopher Negron. Negron came off the bench yesterday, had a pinch hit in the 7th inning. And remember, he was caught in that long rundown between 2nd and 3rd, back and forth he went. Finally was tagged out by the 2nd baseman, Aaron Hill of the Diamondbacks.
He's been impressive since he's been up, Negron has, and he was equally impressive. You saw him a lot in spring training, Jim, and I thought it was essentially he was going to make the ball club. So it turned out the numbers did not work out for him.
He went down to AAA by and large, played shortstop down there, although he played 2nd as well. Big thing for him this year is he stayed healthy and was able to answer the bell when they have called his number up here. Headed toward the middle and through for Negron, and a base hit. So he had the pinch hit single yesterday, gets the base hit here. He's 1 for 3, and he's on with 2 out.
Boy, it's a pretty good pitch right there. Maybe a little more of a 2-strike approach for Negron, and he bounces it right back through the box.
Now it's Frazier representing the go-ahead run in this 1-0 game. We're talking about Negron and his 2 home runs that he has hit. 1 against the Pirates, 1 against the Brewers. His first big league hit was that 3-run homer on a Sunday afternoon, the final day before the All-Star break against the Pirates in Francisco Liriano. He sprinted around the bases. Thought he was going to catch the runner right in front of him.
Give him just a little bit over 15 seconds, I think.
He almost caught Mesoraco, who was right immediately in front of him on that ball. And he hit the pinch hit home run in Milwaukee against the lefty Will Smith. The Reds were down at that time 5-1.
Boy, Frazier didn't like it, and neither did our Fox Tracks.
Cueto flied out to left. Hamilton struck out. Negron with a base hit up the middle. Reds have been out hit 4-3, outscored 1-0. McGee hitting over. Reds are stranded 3. Middle of the 6th. Stanton's home run still standing for the Marlins. Indians on August 6th and 7th at Great American Ballpark. Wednesday, August the 6th. First 25,000 receive a Jay Bruce bobblehead presented by the Ohio Lottery. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or go to reds.com/tickets. The Cleveland Indians, the back end of a 4-game series, will be at GABP the 6th and the 7th of August. That is Wednesday and Thursday. Jordany Valdespin leads things off for the Marlins here in the bottom of the 6th. Jammed on a 1-0 pitch. Cozart will handle this. That is out number 1. Brings Stan to the plate. There's the ball he hit in the first inning. Nissan drive of the game. He didn't get that ball quite in as much as he wanted to. His 25th of the year for Stanton. It ties him with Anthony Rizzo of the Cubs for the top home run hitter in the National League. He leads the league when runs batted in. I would imagine that Michael Hill, who is the president of baseball operations down here for the Marlins, received an awful lot of calls in the month of July inquiring about this guy Stanton. He made it clear, Hill did, that he wanted to add to this club, specifically a starting pitcher, but that he did not want to trade everyday player for pitcher to weaken the club. His outfield, led by Stanton, I'm sure drew a lot of interest from other teams. Again, they end up through the Marlins with a pitcher from the Astros, Jared Cozart. Won 9 games this year down there with Houston. They give up Jake Marisnick, Francis Martez, and Colin Moran. 3 players going the other way. As the Marlins folks we were talking to earlier said, don't be surprised if you see Cozart in this series. Got him on strikes. On a 3-2 pitch, Stanton a strikeout victim.
This is the second gear that you talk about when you describe Johnny Cueto. When he rears back and wants a little something extra, he can actually add to his fastball. And that is our flamethrower strikeout, brought to you by Cholula Hot Sauce at 94 miles an hour. A lot of pitchers reach back, and they reach back for more, and there's nothing more there. They're pitching full out all the time. Cueto has developed the fine knack for being able to add when he needs it. He reminds me a lot of my former college coach, Robin Roberts, who in the course of his major league career, of course he was in the Hall of Fame, gave up 505 home runs. But he told me that most of those are all solo shots, and those solo shots don't hurt you. Just the same way with Johnny Cueto this year. Of all the home runs that he has given up, and now including the one that Stanton hit earlier, he has given up 13 home runs, and 12 of those 13 are solo.
To his left, Cozart. And the inning is over. Second straight 1-2-3 innings. 7 in a row retired now by Johnny Cueto. We're already into the 7th of a 1-0 game. And here's tonight's Honda game summary. Giancarlo Stanton, first inning. Hits this ball over the wall and left. 25th home run of the year for Stanton. Marlins take a 1-0 lead. Pitching has been dominant on both sides. Kohler, there's one of his 2 strikeouts. Johnny Cueto, he has 6 of them. That's Casey McGee going down on strikes. Echeverria tries to get an extra base hit to the alley. And how about that play by Chris Heisey? That ended the bottom of the 4th inning. Into the 7th now. 1-0 Miami. Our Honda game summary. Reds try to get it started. Ludwig has seen a grand total of 3 pitches tonight. Takes this one here for a strike.
That's not very many, obviously, but no Reds hitter has really seen a lot. In fact, Kohler tonight has faced 21 hitters and he has not thrown more than 4 pitches to any one of them. That reminds you of what Greg Maddux used to try to do as his goal every time somebody stepped in the batter's box, is try to retire that hitter on 3 pitches or less.
Yeah, his number for an inning, he liked to be 12, 13 pitches all the time. London trying to get on to start the 7th. Reds have had one leadoff man on. That was Pena with the double in the 5th. He didn't budge from second base. 3 hits, all of them left on, but trailing only 1-0. Struck him out. Number 3 for Kohler. Leadoff man taken care of in the Reds 7th.
Well, that's a slider. You can tell the difference between a slider and a curveball. The curveball's got a bigger break to it. It goes in slower. That slider is very tight. From a hitter's standpoint, you'll see a dot on the middle of the baseball, and that's the one thing that'll give a slider away. But normally, if you throw it in the right spot, it doesn't matter.
Here now is Pena. Of the 3 Reds hits, his was the extra base hit to right center, giving him now a 7-game hitting streak. As I mentioned earlier, he is the one Red who's really hit since the All-Star break. Came into this game after a very nice homestand of 7 for 20, hitting .308 since the break. And he hits this ball sharply up the middle by Kohler's backside and into center field for a hit.
I would believe that Brian Pena guess hitting all the way. He may say it guessing along with the pitcher, but he got a fastball his last time up that he hit for a double. And he had to figure that in this at bat he's going to get a curveball, and he did indeed, and just takes it right back through the box.
Here's Heisey with 1 on and 1 out. Heisey had the chance back in the 5th inning after Pena had let off the frame with the double to move the runner along. Instead, he popped it up. Pena had to stay put. Anaheim lined deep to left. Conceivably, if things worked out, that would have gotten the run home. Now he hits this ball into center field. Run for Ozuna. He'll get there. Two out. Batter will be Jack Hanahan. Taking a call, 3rd strike, hit the ball hard into left field for an out. Now 0 for 7 this year. Activated and put in the starting lineup 4 days ago on the 27th. That was Sunday. Made the start at first base. Pinch hit a few days ago, and now he's in there today. His 2nd start. Rarity here really for Kohler now. He falls behind 2-0. Sitting at 76 pitches.
That's so bad that his 3rd baseman had to come in and calm him down.
Well, he's been a very, very good pitcher here at home. A 2.75 ERA, just shy of 5 away from Marlins Park this year. Toward left field, Yelich is there. Hitting over. 4 hits, 4 stranded for the Reds. Stretch time in Miami. to Cancer, a groundbreaking initiative created to accelerate innovative cancer research that gets new therapies to patients quickly in order to save lives now. For more information, visit foxsportssupports.com. Here at Marlins Park at Miami, the game goes to the bottom of the 7th. Johnny Cueto, very good again tonight, 76 pitches. He's allowed but 1 run. That was that first inning home run ball to Giancarlo Stanton. Question is, will that stand up for the Marlins? Each team with 4 hits. Cueto will get Garrett Jones, Marcell Ozuna, Adeiny Hechavarria here in the bottom of the 7th. 7 in a row. 15 of 16 retired by Cueto. Only the double by Ozuna in the 4th breaking that stretch up. Garrett Jones in this game, a base hit back in the 1st, so an 8-game streak. That's the longest going in the National League right now. Tied for the 2nd longest. Pena is 7.
Well, Garrett Jones is one of those fill-in players that the Marlins picked up to kind of fill a gap and really weren't sure what they were going to get. What you normally get with Jones is somebody who swings very hard. Going to hit about 250, 260. And hit some home runs for you.
Now, he knew his time was up at Pittsburgh last year when they brought in Bird and Morneau, his 2 positions, right field and first base. Signs a 2-year deal down here. $33 years old, Garrett Jones.
Did he go?
Yes, indeed, says Mark Wegner, the 3rd base umpire. So a strikeout for Cueto. That is number 7. Leadoff man gone here in the 7th inning.
Looks like a cut fastball that got Garrett Jones thinking that that ball was going to run away from him instead of come back and touch the outside corner. He probably thought that pitch was rather high, although Mike Winters tonight, the home plate umpire, has had a liberal strike zone if both pitchers are taking advantage. Moving that game right along.
Here's Ozuna. He's been on twice. A walk, a hit. Sends this one down the right field line. Heisey chasing into the corner.
Error on the guy in the gray shirt.
Didn't get it. Disappeared right out of view, Chris Heisey. So quickly in the hole now is Ozuna. Nice numbers for him this year. He is prone to the strikeout. He's in the top 10 in the league in that department. He's fanned 116 times coming into this game this year,
which is just 6 fewer than Giancarlo Stanton.
In fact, the Marlins as a team lead all of Major League Baseball in strikeouts. There's another one of those quick pitches right there by Johnny Cueto. They've struck out 960 times this year, the most in the big leagues. Come into action tonight, and they've struck out 7 more times tonight. making his career start number 183 this evening. 76 wins, 54 career losses, all with the Reds. And he came right at Ozuna, gets him on strikes. Number 8 for the Reds right-hander, 2 out.
Well, another one of those cutters, and he runs it right up in the zone right here. That the numbers of strikeouts per 9 innings for Johnny Cueto, career high, more than 1 per inning.
The strikeouts are way up. Walks just a tad down in terms of his career. All-Star, of course, for the first time here in 2014. Johnny Cueto did not get to appear in the game as he worked on that Sunday prior to the All-Star break.
Of course, with numbers like that, you really wish you had Johnny Cueto tied up for a long time. Just seems to be getting a little bit better every year. We've seen him really from the time he was a minor leaguer. Heard about him first from Johnny Alvarez, who signed Johnny Cueto over in the Dominican Republic as a teenager.
And he won 12 games in 2010. The Reds signed him to a 4-year deal that will expire at the end of this year, although they have a team option for him for 2015. He gets the strikeout here with Echeverria, so that's a 3-strikeout inning and a 9K night for Cueto.
Of the 8th over the Reds here on Fox Sports Ohio. I'm Jim Day. Finally got to catch up with General Manager Walt Jocketty on this trade deadline that saw the Reds make no moves today. And amongst the questions that I asked him, one, were you in buy or sell mode, and did you have clearance from ownership to do either?
We were in a buying mode, and we were clearly looking to try and improve the club for this year, but also looking to the future. And you know, there's some few little deals we could have done that would have involved players that we could have helped us for a couple of months, may have helped us for a couple of months, but then you have to give up some of your top young guys, and it just didn't seem like it was the right thing to do.
They didn't want to make a move just to make a move. And coming up, guys, on the post-game show, you're going to hear the entire interview with Walt Jocketty. And one of the things I asked him about is the frustration that's out there from fans hoping to get some help today for 2014. His reaction to that coming up on Reds Live post-game.
All right, Jim, we look forward to the entire interview with the GM of the Reds after this game. Hopefully it'll be a come-from-behind Reds win. I agree. You hear Jim talking about it also down there. You don't want this team to just make a move to make a move. I mean, that would make no sense. You see teams on occasion do that. You'd rather see them stand pat than do a move that made little or no sense. That one is off the glove of the second baseman Valdespin. The Reds get the leadoff man on Cozart here in the 8th inning for only the second time in this game.
Now the second baseman Valdespin almost makes a great catch right here. In fact, he waves off the center fielder Ozuna, who may have had a chance to get that. Bounces out of his glove. Reds catch a break right there. So Cueto, who's a very good bunter.
Mesoraco's going to bat for him. So Johnny finished after 7 innings. Mesoraco, of course, had that 3-run homer in the bottom of the 9th inning yesterday against Addison Reed, the closer of the Diamondbacks. Reds fell a run short. He pinch hits here. Here's the yesterday's long ball in the bottom of the 9th inning. That home run, the 18th of the year for Devin Mesoraco in yesterday's game. Mesoraco at .295 with 18 and 52. His power numbers. He's 0 for 4 as a pinch hitter this year. They charged an error on that ball to Valdespin. I know that thing hit him in the glove, but he went a long way to try to catch that thing.
Yeah, maybe if he hadn't waved off the center fielder and made it look like he had that baby under control, they would have given him a base hit.
Well, look at that play, though, and I think, is that a normal effort play? The answer to me comes back as no. Broxton on the left, Jumbo Diaz on the right, warming in the Reds bullpen. Pinch hit single in the left by Devin Mesoraco. Another one whose bat has started to come around again after the All-Star break. He came in .235 since the break, but hitting much better as of late. This is the first real threat now for the Reds in this game.
First time they've had back-to-back hits in an inning. There's no question about that. And if you're Mike Redmond, what do you do? That's Chuck Hernandez, the pitching coach. I mean, obviously the guy hasn't been really challenged all game long, but you're going to begin at this point to start playing matchups. And is he going to remove him from the game after giving up a couple of hits here to lead off the top of the 8th? Sure appears that way.
He has signaled to the bullpen with Billy Hamilton, a switch hitter, who predominantly, of course, bats from the left side, due up. The Marlins will make a change here in the top of the 8th inning with the tying run at second, the go-ahead run at first, and nobody out. Kohler gets a good hand from the crowd here. New pitcher on. This is our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen.
Copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Cincinnati Reds and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
A little South Beach action, Chris Welsh. I don't know. We might see you walking along there one of these nights when the Reds are in town.
You just never know.
That your car right there? That
No.
you jumping out of that taxi?
Mine is illegally parked. That guy did not have any illegal pitches or parking to worry about tonight. Tom Kohler, one of the many kind of no-name pitchers that the Reds have faced over the last few weeks that have simply shut them down. He can join the likes of Chase Anderson and Jimmy Nelson, and he will give way to Mike Dunn, hard-throwing left-hander with a penchant for striking out a lot of hitters. 45 punch-outs in 39 innings.
Lefty comes on to turn Hamilton around, batting from the right side. He bunts it toward the mound, and Dunn bobbles the ball. That's going to cost him. Boy, he looked like he had an idea about going to third. Bumbled the ball, and the Reds have him safe at every base with nobody out.
Well, it goes right back to the pitcher, and Dunn really doesn't aggressively charge this. Of course, you've got to know who's running, and Cozart's a pretty good runner over there from second to third, even though they've got a force play. You got to decide as you're coming to get that ball, and that will be a one-batter appearance for Mike Dunn. That is Mike Redmond, manager. He's going to the bullpen again.
One batter, one pitch, in fact. And Mike Dunn is out. The right-hander Christopher Negron due up for the Reds. They have him loaded here in the top of the 8th inning with nobody out. We'll come back with more right after this. Returns with baseball's premier rivalry, as Derek Jeter and the Yankees will be in Boston, take on David Ortiz and the Red Sox. Special coverage beginning at 3 p.m. Eastern only on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Red Sox more in the news today and this week, really, because of the players they have unloaded. They currently occupy in the AL East the bottom rung. 12 under, 13 out. Yankees still in the thick of things. They start the day 5.5 out. 3 games over 500, trailing Baltimore and Toronto.
Brian Morris comes into the ball game for the Marlins. Former Pittsburgh Pirate was traded over here on June the 1st. Hard thrower, fastball, slider.
Big chance for the Reds here, trailing 1-0. Negron, who had a hit his last time, swings over that one. Dunn 6'3", 225-pounder. Reds with their first real scoring threat of the game right here. They had a runner at second, nobody out back in the fifth when Pena doubled. He didn't budge. And now Red leg at every base. Nobody out. Grown now, then Frazier, then Ludwig. Tied him up inside, 1-2.
Well, interesting, really, the way the Marlins are playing this defensively. This is just a hard fastball. You go right under the hands. That's always a good pitch. The Marlins are playing back for 2. The only way that they'll come home for a double play is if it goes right back to the pitcher or maybe a shot to the third baseman.
Got him on strikes.
Well, I hate to show it to you again, but it's what happened here with the bases loaded, nobody out. Chris Negron against Brian Morris, and first pitch slider and another pitch slider that misses. Then he comes inside with a fastball, and this sets up that slider to go back away again. Our Mazda pitch by pitch, a strikeout by Morris when he needed it the most.
So here now is Frazier. Bases loaded, 1 out. Marlins have turned 98 double plays this year, 5th most in the National League. They would love one right here if they could get it. Frazier's hit it only 1. Correct myself and say 6. He's hit into 6,
which still isn't all that much. I mean, he's predominantly a fly ball hitter, Frazier is. But Morris, of course, is more looking for probably a strikeout here than take a risk on a ground ball. Kind of the same philosophy right there he had with Negron. Go away and then go in, try to set something up back away and make Frazier chase. Frazier looking for a pitch up right here. If you get a pitch up in this situation, you can at least get a lofty fly ball into the outfield to tie this game up.
Now Morris gets ahead of ball and 2 strikes. This is a situation, really, runners in scoring position, that has really haunted the Reds since the All-Star break. Reaching for it, sending it into shallow right. Stanton is there to make the catch. Cozart will tag and come home. The throw, the tag. Got it. Cozart did not slide. Brian Price will come out and say that the catcher, Mathis, was in a wrong spot at the plate. And now Mike Winters, the crew chief, signals to the third base umpire, Mark Wegner, to come in and they'll take a look at it. There he is, clearly in the line.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about this one. He went over to block the plate, Mathis did, and before he had the ball. The only way you can get in front of the plate is if the throw takes you there, and obviously he did not do that. And I think they're going to overrule this.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, because you could see him clearly in the old, what you'd call the old catcher's position, right in front of the plate.
Yeah, and in a way you kind of feel bad for Mathis, because he's played his entire career probably doing that same play, being taught for years. That's the way you set up. Look at him set that leg down there in anticipation of maybe a runner sliding into it. But Cozart didn't even slide because he had nowhere to slide.
Well, the Reds challenge this play at the plate. The fans here are cheering because of the out call. This is an umpire's review. Let me stand corrected on that. An umpire's review, not a Reds challenge on the play at the plate. again, from the reviews, or rather from the replays that we have seen, he was clearly in front of the plate way prior to the ball's arrival. So we get Mike Winters, the home plate umpire and crew chief, and Mark Wegner taking a look at it. Mike Redmond, the former catcher, manager of this club. If the call stands, it's an inning-ending double play. If it's overturned, the Reds will have tied the game.
Well, you see where Redmond is right here. He is right on the line, and you've got to be able to give the runner a little bit of the plate right here, and he didn't give him very much of the plate at all. So as soon as he moves his leg to about this position right here, he blocks the plate completely, and if he does not have the ball at the time, and the ball is right here, as you can see. So as the ball comes into home, he's already got the plate blocked, and I got to figure that this is going to go in favor of the Reds.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it clearly showed that he was blocking the plate without the ball. Even before the shot that we showed right there, the ball was still in the outfield area, and he had his leg way in front of the plate.
Well, you have to give the runner some of the plate to be able to get in there in the event that you never end up with the ball as the catcher. If you never end up with the ball, and you can see where his foot is, there's no part of the plate from Zach Kozar's perspective that he can slide to. Now, he still doesn't have the ball, and his leg is already really blocking out there, and this should be a no-brainer.
Now, the other part of that is the rule states that the catcher can move into the line there if the throw takes him there, and that throw clearly did not.
Well, that's the only thing that's taken a while now, and I think as they review this, the longer you look at it, the longer you're wondering to yourself, did that throw take him there? Meaning, did he have to set himself up there to get a hop that he could catch? Do you force a catcher into having a short hop or a very tough hop, or one where he can back up a little bit in order to field that ball on an easier hop, and that takes him into the runner's line towards home? That's the only thing that I can think of that they may be looking at right now.
The only thing is about that play, and we saw it there clearly a couple of times, that he was set up waiting for the throw with his left leg blocking the line of the sliding line of Kozar.
Well, that's the only thing. It's interesting, in a ballpark that has a roof, you can almost get an overhead angle, although I don't see any camera up there here at Marlins Park. But, you know, normally what's happened this year, Jim, is that the longer this review takes, the more likelihood there's not enough evidence on the tapes for the umpires in New York to overturn the ruling that was made on the field.
And the problem with this is, if it goes against the Reds, is that there's no explanation given to Brian Price. Remember, he wanted an explanation earlier this year down in Atlanta and was ejected from the game. Nor would there be an explanation, although really one wouldn't be needed, to Mike Redmond if they overturn this call. So we wait. See what they're saying in New York to those two gentlemen as to whether the play is going to stand, and it would be an inning-ending double play, or if it's going to be overturned, and the Reds will tie the game.
And when you consider it, the value of this particular play is so huge in comparison to how it leads into this ball game. I mean, it's a double play that ends the inning, or it makes it a tie game in the eighth, and it keeps the inning alive for the Reds. I mean, they really want to make sure in New York that they get this right, because the game is in balance right here.
They have put the collision at home plate rule up on the big board here, explaining it to the fans. The catcher cannot block the pathway of the runner as he is attempting to score. If in the judgment of the umpire, the catcher without possession of the ball blocks the pathway of the runner, umpire shall call or signal the runner safe. That's the rule. 7.13-2. Now they're about ready to take the headsets off. Safe. The runner is safe. Mike Redmond fires his hat down on the ground and comes out and argues.
Well, you got to remember that Mike Redmond is a former catcher. He caught for 13 years in the major leagues, and I have not seen a manager yet this upset over a rule that was reviewed in New York.
He pulled out his jersey. He's ripped open the front.
You know, the thing about it is, and Redmond knows this as much as anybody in this ballpark, that there's not a thing that Mike Winters can do. He'll sit there, he'll listen, he'll let Redmond get his money's worth. Bottom line is, they reviewed it in New York. They did it for a long time, and I think they got it right.
Here it is again.
Is he blocking the plate without the ball? And the answer to that was yes.
Now the 4 umpires will get together and try to decide. Here's Redmond now. You know, in a way, I almost think that Mike Winters and Mark Wegner feel for Mike Redmond here. They understand his exasperation.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt about that. And I also think you feel, in a way, for the catcher, Jeff Mathis. I mean, he was been trained his entire life to do what he did at home plate. And this year you're supposed to turn that off and do something different. So that's still, of all the review rules, that is the one play that Major League Baseball figured that there was going to be some controversy on, because it is against what a lot of catchers have been taught to do their entire lives. And
well, it goes down as an unearned run. It's charged to Kohler, who can now no longer be the winner in this game. It brings Ludwig to the plate. The runner from second base, Mesoraco, also tagged and moved to third. But the go-ahead run is 90 feet away with 2 out. Ludwig will be the batter. Ryan Morris got a couple of pitches extra there to warm up again. A base hit here from Ludwig could put the Reds in front. Through it all, Brian Morris is charged with a blown save. It's a 1-1 game here in the top of the 8th inning. Credit Frazier with a sacrifice fly and his 56th run batted in. As Mesoraco carries the go-ahead run down at third. Runner from first takes off. No throw from Mathis. Stolen base. Billy Hamilton is 42nd. Maybe his easiest of the year.
Well, that blown save rule that Mathis, or that Brian Morris picks up, is a bad rule too.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Here, bases loaded, nobody out. You give up a sacrifice strikeout and a sacrifice fly, and you get banged with a blown save.
Should be a blown hold. There's a ball hit into center, sinking fast, base hit. Mesoraco will score. Hamilton racing home. He will score. 2-run single. Ludwig. This has been a 3-run inning, and the Reds have taken a 3-1 lead. Boy, if you thought Mike Redmond was mad before.
You know, there are a lot of Reds fans in here. Maybe not quite 50-50, but probably 20%. But those Marlins fans that are here, I mean, they've got to be just so angry right now. Can you imagine if this was a World Series game and that happened in a game like that? Wow.
Well, all the runs are unearned. There have been 2 errors in the inning, so to a certain degree, the Marlins have no one but to blame but themselves. Fly ball to right. Stanton will get it. Inning is over, but a crazy top of the 8th here in Miami. Fans boo as the Marlins leave the field. The Reds have scored 3 times. Have taken a 3-1 lead. They're happy in that Reds dugout, that's to be sure. Well, crazy top of the 8th and a 3-1 Reds lead. And boy, that play at the plate, we've had a couple of looks at that one and one from earlier. Chris, take us through it.
We're going to show you first what Brian Pena did right earlier in the ball game in the first inning. A throw from Billy Hamilton. You watch where Pena's foot is. He is giving the runner the entire part of the outside part of the plate right there. I mean, you can see that spot. Now, once he gets the ball, he moves that left leg, points the shin guard to the runner, and McGee is thrown out at the plate. This is the play where Cozart is coming in. Jeff Mathis, the catcher, is already blocking the plate right there. There is no spot for Cozart to be able to see home plate. In fact, he's pointing to it as Mike Winters calls him out at home. And I'm sure that as that play developed, Mike Winters is thinking this is going to be reviewed. So the Reds end up with 3 runs in that inning. And Jonathan Broxton on now to pitch the bottom of the 8th.
He gets the man that was right in the middle of it all, Jeff Mathis, the catcher of the Marlins, to lead things off. Mesoraco has taken over behind the plate. Pena has gone to first base for the Reds. Schumacher out in left field. Ludwig out of the game. Hanahan out of the game. Broxton on in relief now of Johnny Cueto, who is in line to get his 12th win. Mathis so far tonight 0 for 2. Cueto 7 innings of 1-run 4-hit baseball with 9 strikeouts. Again, all those runs the Reds put on the board go down as unearned runs. The error on the ball by Valdespino, though, we both kind of thought that was going to be a hit anyway. And then the bobbled bunt by Mike Dunn from Billy Hamilton. And of course the controversial play at the plate, and the ball hit to right by Frazier. Stanton made a beautiful throw. And had Mathis simply been a step or probably 2 steps to his right, caught the ball, come back and put a tag on Cozart, it would have been an inning-ending double play. Am I seeing that right?
You're exactly right on it.
Instead, play overturned at the plate, and then a 2-run single by Ludwig and a 3-1 Reds lead in the bottom of the 8th. Trying to snap this 9-game road losing streak.
You know, the relationship between catcher and pitcher is so close and so tight. You got to figure that Jeff Mathis there is thinking, you know, in his mind what happened, where his leg was he blocking a play? And then when he sees the video, I mean, he'll feel awfully bad for his pitcher Tom Kohler, who pitched a whale of a game.
To get the leadoff man out here in the bottom of the 8th. Popped up, playable for Mesoraco, and Devin makes the play. And a good start to the bottom of the 8th inning. Mathis retired, out number 1. Now Reed Johnson, who had been in the on-deck circle, is called back. Donovan Solano, who is the other half of their second base platoon along with Valdespine. He will bat with 1 out and the bases empty. On the year, Solano hitting .263 with a homer. He's driven in 12. 4 for 25 as a pinch hitter.
Well, this is normally the time of the game that the Reds simply don't give it up. I mean, once you get the lead after the 7th inning, the bullpen between Broxton and Chapman has been so airtight this year that they are 43-4 after leading after the 7th inning, and 46-2 when leading after the 8th.
Trying to get to that spot here. They're 1/3 of the way there. One out in the bottom of the 8th inning. They about hit the Marlins 6-4. Had a hit in each of the last 4 innings, did the Reds, but were doing nothing until now. There's that earned run average. The dominance that Broxton has put in this year. Only the Cardinals' Pat Neshek has done better in relief. Bench coach, by the way, of the Marlins is Rob Leary. He takes over as the manager with the ejection of Mike Redmond. Foul tip hung on to by Mesoraco, and a strikeout of Solano is the second out of the inning. Remember to stay with us after the game. Fox Sports Ohio will break it down for you. First chance to talk with the manager, Brian Price, and the Reds players. That's Reds Live, the post-game version, brought to you by Performance Kings Honda. Top of the order now, and Christian Yelich. This game he's 0 for 3. Taking a look back at the managers that have been ejected this year against the Reds, Ryne Sandberg and Clint Hurdle. Sandberg of the Phillies, Hurdle of the Pirates, and now Redmond have been ejected due to review plays. Rick Renteria has been thrown out arguing balls and strikes. In fact, he's been thrown out twice arguing non-review plays. Ryne Sandberg and Hurdle.
If you're a manager, sometimes you just can't help yourself. And you can certainly see where Mike Redmond, I mean, that's just frustration. He knows the role as well as anybody. I mean, he's a guy caught in the major leagues for 13 years.
Hard hit and up the middle, and a hit for Yelich. The tying one will come to the plate now, and Valdespin. First base runner for the Marlins. That's a 2-out double by Ozuna back in the 4th. Dominance by Johnny Cueto.
Well, you can't fall asleep now with Yelich at first base. I mean, I'm not so certain that with 2 outs that they would run themselves out of an inning. Not down by 2 anyway. It's not like Yelich represents the tying run, but he does have 13 steals. He's only been thrown out 3 times.
Those 13 represent a lead, team lead in that department.
Your Valdespin, you're looking for something that you could hook in that hole between first and second.
Frazier in on the grass at third.
And of course, to keep him from hooking the ball down the right field line or in that area over there, you pitch him away.
Marlins second baseman tonight, 0 for 3. Strikeout looking, bouncer to the mound, pop up to the shortstop. Cueto now in line to be the winner. Kohler, the starter for the Marlins, the loser. By the way, there's been a change for the starting pitcher for the Marlins tomorrow night. We were talking about the acquisition today of Jared Cozart from Houston. It has been announced that Cozart, with his 9 wins, 7 losses in the American League, will make his Marlins debut here tomorrow night in the second game of the series, being opposed by Matt Lato. Reds, bottom of the 8th. Well, you want to get this guy and put an end to the inning. Stanton waits on deck. Now Broxton has fallen behind 3-0. Reds pen quiet. Marlins have double barrel action in their bullpen. And a 4-pitch walk.
Well, that's about exactly what you didn't want. Was to bring Stanton up, the only guy that really has legitimate power in this lineup to change the game around, and he comes up as not just a tying run, but a go-ahead run.
Jeff Pico leads the charge to the mound. Infield in there with him, talking with Jonathan Broxton. There had been, up until this moment, no action out in the Reds bullpen. Now, Aroldis Chapman has gotten up, starts to play catch.
That would be in case Garrett Jones comes up 2 batters from now.
Steve Cishek, very fine closer of the Marlins, is up and throwing in their bullpen now by himself.
I'll tell you, as quickly as this game was moving along, when Kohler and Cueto were out there battling each other, this 8th inning, between the top of the 8th and the long review that they had of that play at home plate, and this evolving inning with the Marlins at bat, has taken about 3 innings worth of this ball game.
I did not hear the official time announced on that review. Did you?
No.
Stanton against Broxton. 2 on, 2 out. Josh Haller, producer, says 6 minutes 10 seconds on the review. 6:10. See Stanton tied for first in home runs, first in RBIs, third in slugging percentage. The most dangerous hitter in the Marlins lineup right here. At 94, he didn't catch up. 1-1.
Don't you really love these matchups, though, that come down to power versus power? Although that may be the last fastball he sees.
In case you're wondering, Stanton is 0 for 1 lifetime against Broxton. One and 2.
Powder River again.
That one again at 94. Elevated a little bit. Heard you say many, many times, you can see that pitch better, but it's hard to get up there to it.
Well, it just doesn't sink when you throw it that hard with 4-seam action.
How about a third straight 94-mile-an-hour fastball?
Well, I think the first 2 are located in such a good spot that even if Stanton puts a good part of the bat on it, you're not going to be able to keep it fair as far off the plate as those were.
This inning started with Jeff Mathis fouling out to the catcher Mesoraco. Pinch hitter Solano struck out. Yelich singled to center. Valdespin drew a walk. First and second, 2 out, 3-1 Reds. Bottom of the 8th. Casey McGee waits on deck. Chapman now throwing in earnest in the bullpen. Cishek ready out on the Marlins pen. Big pitch coming up here. Got it on a breaking ball. Stanton strikes out. Big frame for Jonathan Broxton. Marlins strand 2. On to the 9th. 2-run Reds lead. Ballpark on Saturday, August the 9th for Reds Hall of Fame induction night. Arrive early for a special pregame ceremony honoring the Reds Hall of Fame class of 2014. That includes Ken Griffey Jr., Dave Parker, Ron Oster, and the late Jake Beckley. Plus, all fans in attendance will receive a free commemorative print thanks to P&G and Kroger. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or reds.com/tickets. Izzy due up here in the 9th inning. First, he brings us our John Morrell hot dog play of the game. That great catch he made back in the 4th inning off the bat of Adeiny Echeverria. Laying out for that ball, our John Morrell hot dog play of the game. That saved a run. Ozuna had been at second with 2 out. Had he not come up with that ball, that would have been a 2-0 Marlins lead. As he started in right, has stayed out there. Now new pitcher on, Sam Dyson. Florida native from Tampa. Played at the University of South Carolina.
He's been up and down a couple of times now from their AAA affiliate, the Zephyrs of New Orleans. Most recently recall the end of June. Boy, I'll tell you what. One of the things you notice about the Marlins is that they will bring some arms out of their bullpen. Dunn, the left-hander, was throwing mid-90s. Morris was throwing as hard as 96. And that last pitch by Sam Dyson, mid-90s or better. Of course, the Reds aren't too bad either when you talk about the trio of Jumbo Diaz and Jonathan Broxton. Diaz has dialed it up as fast as 99. Broxton got it up as 96 today. And of course, Aroldis Chapman, 103 is more normal than exceptional.
Funny how Jumbo Diaz has worked his way into that trio that you talk about. A lot of A lot of talk about him in spring training, and then as the season started to unfold, you kind of forgot about Jumbo Diaz.
Well, until the opportunity presented itself. Either through some injuries, some sore arms down there, or some sub-average performances opened up that number 7 inning.
Skip Schumacher now bats for the first time in this game. He took over in left field in the bottom of the 8th. Now the spin will make this play, and Schumacher is retired. He pops to Jones. Schumacher grounds out to Valdespin, and here is Cozart with 2 men out. Chapman ready to roll out on the Reds bullpen. Marlins will have 4, 5, 6. Casey McGee, Garrett Jones, Marcell Ozuna. They have a couple of right-handed bats that they may elect to bring in for Garrett Jones, the left-handed hitter. Reds will take at least a 3-1 lead into the 9th. And trying to get back to 500. Trying to snap a 9-game road losing streak. Have not won away from Great American Ballpark since the 29th of June at San Francisco. Trying to snap that dry spell here. Cozart serves one up into right. He has himself a hit. He reached on controversial error, I guess, back in the 8th inning, and he was at the center of that play at the plate. Showed you that multiple replays of that. He had his hands out as if to say, hey, I have nowhere to slide. In order for him to get to the plate, he would have had to barrel over Mathis, and that's what they're trying to avoid.
Exactly.
Good to see Cozart get a hit. Probably should have had 2 tonight. Came into the game 2 for his last 28. He's really labored since the All-Star break. Mesoraco had a pinch hit single in the 8th. Stayed in the game, took over behind the plate. Batting in the 9 spot. The pitcher spot is in the 4 hole. Chapman will come on and pitch here in Miami, the city in which he makes his offseason home. I would imagine there's a lot of acquaintances, friends of his. He's getting together with while this team is in town. To the left side, McGee cuts it off. Inning is over. Well, the stage is set. Bottom of the 9th. A roll is Chapman to try to save it for Johnny Cueto from the bottom of the 9th. Has been brought to you by Chevy. Visit your Tri-State Chevy dealer today, and by Cincinnati Children's Hospital, who ranks 3rd in the country on U.S. News and World Report's 2014 Best Children's Hospitals. For his 24th save, trying to save it for Johnny Cueto here in the bottom of the 9th inning. A game that really took a turn in the top of the 8th. Reds had done nothing offensively through 7. They got the first 2 on. That spelled the end of Tom Kohler, and then things kind of came undone for the Marlins to the Reds' benefit.
Well, of course, Aroldis Chapman, this is a homecoming of sorts. He lives in Miami in the offseason. He was essentially an Elvis when he showed up here this afternoon. Did one interview after another, was mobbed by fans, signed autographs. So you got to figure that Aroldis, who has struck out 67 of the 124 batters he's faced this year, has extra incentive to add a few to that tally.
Of course, he's trying to add to his strikeout total of 45 consecutive appearances by a reliever with a strikeout, an all-time major league record. Began in late August a year ago. He had to get the last batter he faced, Didi Gregorius, in the 9th inning on Tuesday to keep that streak alive when he saved the game in the 3-0 win. Now he gets Casey McGee to start the bottom of the 9th. Reds up by a pair at 3-1. And he misses with the first 2. McGee lifetime 0 for 7 against Chapman. 2-1. Marlins had won 6 in a row, a season best, until losing here yesterday 4-3 to Washington. Reds trying to send them 2 games under. 2-2. Jeff Baker, catcher on this team, is on deck to bat for Garrett Jones. And ball 4. Without the benefit of a swing, McGee walks to start the bottom of the 9th inning against Chapman. Now Jeff Baker will bat for Garrett Jones. Baker on the year at .245, couple of home runs. He is 9 for 26 as a pinch hitter this year.
Which means he can hit a fastball.
They have the top pinch hitter in the league on their bench in Reed Johnson. They do not bring him out here to face Chapman. Leadoff walk to McGee. Baker represents the tying run. Ozuna on deck. Double play ball. Cozart second. Pena at first. Double play. 6-4-3. Cozart Negron to Pena. And Negron took a hard slide there from Casey McGee, and he comes out hobbling.
Well, it was DP lane all the way. Hard hit right at the shortstop, and 6-4-3 is what it is. Negron wanted to make sure he was on the bag, and he didn't really protect himself. He just kind of came across the bag and stayed right there. Maybe tried to jump over the runner as McGee came in sliding. That is the first ground ball double play served up by Chapman this year.
So now here he is, just as he was 2 days ago on Tuesday against the Diamondbacks, with 2 men out, nobody on, no strikeouts yet, trying to keep that strikeout streak alive, sitting at 45.
He is aware of it, because I did read a quote where he thought it was pretty cool that he had set this record.
Well, the old mark was 39 by the man who made, I think you'd agree, the split finger popular, Bruce Sutter.
I would think that Chapman pretty much tries to strike out everybody he faces, though.
I would agree with that.
Like, wouldn't you if you threw 103?
That would be my thought at the beginning of every AB, and then we'd adjust from there.
Well, wouldn't you think that you sleep better if you struck out everybody you faced?
Well, I don't know about that. I may be pushing it. Sleep better if I retired everybody I faced. 2-1 now to Ozuna with 2 out. That's Maria. The shortstop is on deck. He walked. Pinch hitter Baker bounced into the double play. And now a 3-2 count to Marcell Ozuna. So 2 out, nobody on in the bottom of the 9th. You know, I'm looking down in the dugout.
Marlins dugout?
Yeah, Mike Redmond, I believe, is still in there. I don't know that he was ejected from this game. Now time called. Chapman may have injured himself out there. Brian Price comes out. Paul Lassard, the head trainer, comes out. Chapman threw that pitch, fouled away by Ozuna. Now they all converge, taking a look at Aroldis Chapman. Here's the last pitch. Let's see if we can detect anything.
Well, now he's limping a little bit. You know, he had a little bit of a hamstring problem that he aggravated. It seemed like he was covering first base in the All-Star game. But he didn't have any problem after that, it didn't seem. And it's something to do with his leg. But of course, when you're Aroldis Chapman, an injury to your leg is nearly as dangerous as an injury to your arm, because you don't want to do anything that would throw his pitching delivery off kilter and have him compensate somehow and thereby injuring his arm.
You wonder if the thing just tightened up and cramped up a little bit on him. Shakes his head. He's going to be all right.
Now, staying over near the mound is Brian Pena, and talking to him just a little bit more, probably to tell him, hey, you make sure that you feel good right here, because we don't need you injured.
3-2 count to Ozuna. Got it. The strikeout streak continues. Reds win. The road losing streak ends, and the Reds are back at the 500 mark at 54-54 as Chapman strikes out Ozuna, and the Reds are a 3-1 winner in the first game of this 4-game series against the Marlins.
You know, this is exactly the type of game that the Reds lost a lot of after the All-Star break. They were hot before the break, but this is exactly the kind of game that they let get away from them up until tonight. So maybe this marks the beginning of something new for this Reds ball club as they break that long losing streak on the road with a first game win in this 4-game set.
And they get the runs they needed, 3 of them in the top of the 8th inning. They tied it on that controversial play at the plate, and they take the lead on this hit by Ryan Ludwig, which is our Miller time moment of the night. Solidly into center field, that plated Mesoraco, plated Billy Hamilton, who had just stolen second base. He came in easily to score. Ludwig picks up the 2 RBIs, giving him 29 on the year. The Reds get out of Marlins Park with a first game win by a final of 3-1. Cueto gets the victory, his 12th. Chapman the save, number 24. Now we invite you to stay with us. Reds Live, presented by Performance Kings Honda. Post-game edition is next.